Good morning, Muhammad Mukhtar. Today we will study the first selection of literature in this quarter. It's entitled The Turtle on the Earth on Turtle's Back. Okay, what is this story? It's like a mythology. A mythology is supposed to be an imaginary story that tries to explain some kind of phenomena or something in the universe. Let's see this story in the form of a video and understand it first, and then we can explain.
The Earth on Turtle's Back. Retold by Michael Caduto and Joseph Bruchuk. Before this Earth existed, there was only water. It stretched as far as one could see, and in the water there were birds and animals swimming around. Far above in the clouds, there was a skyland. In that skyland, there was a great and beautiful tree. It had 4 white roots, which stretched to each of the sacred directions, and from its branches all kinds of fruit and flowers grew. There was an ancient chief in the skyland. His young wife was expecting a child, and one night she dreamed that she saw the great tree uprooted. The next day she told her husband the story. He nodded as she finished telling him her dream.
My wife,
He said,
I am sad that you had this dream. It is clearly a dream of great power, and as is our way, when one has such a powerful dream, we must do all we can to make it true. The great tree must be uprooted.
Then the ancient chief called the young men together and told them that they must pull up the tree. But the roots of the tree were so deep, so strong, that they could not budge it. At last the ancient chief himself came to the tree. He wrapped his arms around it, bent his knees, and strained. At last, with one great effort, he uprooted the tree and placed it on its side. Where the tree's roots had gone deep into the skyland, there was now a big hole. The wife of the chief came close and leaned over to look down, grasping the tip of one of the great tree's branches to steady her. It seemed as if she saw something down there far below, glittering like water. She leaned out further to look, and as she leaned, she lost her balance and fell into the hole. Her grasp slipped off the tip of the branch, leaving her with only a handful of seeds as she fell down, 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 down. Far below in the waters, some of the birds and animals looked up.
Someone is falling toward us from the sky,
Said one of the birds,
We must do something to help her!
said another. Then 2 swans flew up. They caught the woman from the sky between their wide wings. Slowly they began to bring her down towards the water, where the birds and animals were watching.
She's not like us.
Said one of the animals.
Look, she doesn't have webbed feet. I don't think she can live in the water.
What shall we do then?
Said another of the water animals.
I know.
Said one of the water birds.
I've heard that there's an earth far below the waters. If we dive down and bring up the earth, then she'll have a place to stand.
So the birds and animals decided that someone would have to bring up the earth. One by one they tried. The duck dove first, some say. He swam down and down, far beneath the surface, but could not reach the bottom and floated back up. Then the beaver tried. He went even deeper, so deep that it was all dark, but he could not reach the bottom either. The loon tried, swimming with his strong wings. He had gone a long, long time, but he too failed to bring up the earth. Soon it seemed that all had tried and all had failed. Then a small voice spoke.
I'll bring up the earth, or die trying.
They looked to see who it was. It was the tiny muskrat. She dove down and swam and swam. She was not as strong or as swift as the others, but she was determined. She went so deep that it was all dark, and still she swam deeper. She swam so deep that her lungs felt ready to burst, but she swam deeper still. At last, just as she was becoming unconscious, she reached out with one small paw and grasped at the bottom, barely touching it before she floated up, almost dead. When the other animals saw her break the surface, they thought she had failed. Then they saw her right paw was held tightly shut.
She has the earth.
they said,
Now, where do we put it?
Put it on my back.
said a deep voice. It was the great turtle, who had come up from the depths. They brought the muskrat over to the great turtle and placed her paw against his back. To this day, there are marks at the back of the turtle's shell which were made by the muskrat's paw. A tiny bit of earth fell on the back of the turtle. Almost immediately, it began to grow larger and larger and larger until it became the whole world. Then the two swans brought the Sky Woman down. She stepped onto the new earth and opened her hand, letting the seeds fall onto the bare soil. From those seeds, trees and grass sprang up. Life on earth had begun.
Okay, this is the story of the Earth on Turtle's back. Okay, let's have a look at this explanation or presentation. The Earth on Turtle's back, it's supposed to be one of the origin myths. What is or what are origin myths? Stories that explain how life began and were passed down from generation to generation. Okay, they explain phenomena including customs, instructions, religious rites, natural landmarks such as a great mountain, events beyond the people's control. All these are parts of the origin myth. The background. Native Americans have great respect for the natural world. They believe that each culture has its own power by which it maintains itself and affects others. Okay, and this picture, okay, of the Native Americans. Each Native American culture has its own name for this power, but many Native American cultures recognize a great spirit, an invisible power that is the source of life and the good for humans. Native Americans folklore, much of which portrays animals, reflects here this great respect. And these are pictures of how the wife, okay, of the chief fell on the turtle's back, okay, and how the earth began to grow on the turtle's back. What is this selection about? First question. This myth from the Onondaga people relates a story about the creation of the world. In this version, the earth forms as an offshoot of celestial place called the Skyland. Original stories are a mixture of science and religion. They explain how the world and things in it came to be. How do the opening words of this story identify it as an origin story? The first sentence describes what existed before the creation of the earth. What do the chief's words to his wife tell you about the beliefs of the Onondaga? The Onondaga believe that dreams are powerful, influential messages, that the dreams must be obeyed, and so he cut the tree or uprooted the tree that was the source of life for them. What does the Skyland chief's wife dream? She dreams that she sees the great tree uprooted. Okay, this is some kind of summary and explanation about the story. I will send you a sheet with the summary and all the explanation and this PowerPoint presentation and the video. Please try to study them well and then answer the question that I will send you in a sheet. Okay, thank you.